In this part, I'm going to talk about the PHE Luxwood window frame. In many builds or alternative building technologies, the reason they have failed is because of the penetrations that a building requires and the fitting of standard windows. In many alternative building systems, the ability to fit windows has been the most difficult and the most challenging, and therefore they have all more or less become obsolete, or there are many issues around how they attach our normal standard windows. PHE has created its own standard range of windows that match the panel, as we've spoken before. The windows that PHE has required work on the panel widths. So if you have a 2-panel or 3-panel, 4-panel, 5-panel window is how the widths work. We then have the different size panels that are used as the sills, which normally go up in 300mm increments. And then we have, of course, the lintel panel, some people call a sill panel, an upper sill panel, that then determines the height of the windows. Obviously, if it's a 2.7 meter wall, your sill panel or your upper lintel panel will be 600 millimeters. If it's a 2.4 meter build, it'll be 300 millimeters. This ensures that all your window heights and door heights are the same throughout your building. The PHE window frame system comes as pieces, and it's an aluminium extrudant that's been powder coated, and it all joins together quite simply. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how the window actually goes together. We have two profiles. We have a profile, what we call profile B, and we have a profile A. Both of these profiles are needed to put the window in. This profile, which we call B, is actually put inside the actual house, and the actual window will come into it. The profile A, which we have talked about here, is this profile here, and what happens is this profile goes underneath this one, and therefore we end up creating a box where we can actually clamp onto the panel. The panel will sit in here, and therefore we create our weather seal. I'm now going to demonstrate how to put these window frames together. In your window kit, you will get a box that looks like this. It's called the PHE window frame accessories. And in this box, basically has everything that you require to put the window together. It has brackets that are either like this or like this. It depends which type of brackets you've used or what you've required. It has a smaller tiny bracket, which is quite important, which I'll show you. It also has all the pop rivets and the screws, all the hardware required to fit the window. The tools that you require to put the window together is very simple. You possibly need a rubber hammer. You're going to need some PHE no-nails glue. PHE no-nails glue was specially designed for our panel and the joining of many of our equipment. You will see that it comes also in a cartridge that's got a no label on it. The reason for this is to keep the costs down as much as possible. The box that it comes in is labeled, but then the cartridges are not labeled, because when they go to landfill or to be recycled, the printing or the colored sheet also creates a problem for recycling. To build the window, your frames are going to come in separate parts. They will be matched in pairs. So you have two pairs of a B extrusion, and you have two pairs of an A extrusion. These extrusions have, as I said, been made purposely for the PHE system. In our case here, we're going to build a window that's going to be an oblong. It's not a square window. So we're going to have two sections that are longer than the other, but we've also got two outer sections that are the same. So if we can match these to check that they are right. If we put this frame to this frame, they will be identical lengths from the outside. And again, if I put this frame with this frame, again I can check that they're identical. So now I know that I've got matching pairs A and B to make up my window frame. To make up your window frame, it's pretty simple. We are going to take some brackets, as I said, like this. And these form part of putting the window together. The brackets go into the actual extrusion very simply. You can see that by putting the extrusion into it, it's quite easy. We just push the brackets into, very simple, into there. This little bracket that you've got here only fits onto this extrusion, and it goes into this part of the window frame here. We do this now on both sides of the window. And if it is a little bit tight, rubber hammer, a little tap, and it's there. You must be very careful not to damage the mitre in any way. If you drop these on the floor, they will be damaged and rendered useless because the mitres will not join together. So once you have done this, and again, if we take the little bracket and we put it in there, we've now created the first part of this window, which looks like this. So you'll notice now that I have got my two frames together. I have put the brackets into them. You'll notice that in all of these preparations, I have not removed the protective film of any of these extrusions, mainly to protect the powder coating. But as I said, once I've made up these two frames, I now just push them together, and it doesn't require much effort at all. Just lining up the brackets, pushing them together, giving them a little tap so that they can go together. You can find that sometimes they are a little bit tight, but it's just a matter of persevering with them to get them to go in. Once you've got them in, it's a matter of just pushing them so that the mitres join up. You can actually see now that the frame has now its brackets in place. The mitres are closed, okay? You then turn the frame around and you do the opposite side. Okay, you can leave it at that. Once you've done, your frame now is completely assembled. It's nicely pulled together. You've checked the joints. It's all good. There are two methods now. One is you can take a sash clamp and clamp them together. However, if you think that the joints are pretty good, you can now take some silicone, your PHE no-nail glue, and you can actually glue through the corners, holding the brackets. Once you've done that, and you've gone through the complete joint, and I'm just going to show you exactly. Okay, stop there. Once you've got this point to this point, you can now take some of the PHE no-nails glue, okay, and you can weld up the joints, making sure that it's nice and tightly together. You can put a bit of PHE glue around the brackets so that it doesn't move. Okay, this is going to ensure that you have a watertight seal to your actual joint. We'll go and we do the same to this side here, making sure first of all that your joint is 100% right. It's nicely together, and again we're going to weld up the joint, making sure that you've joined it up quite nicely. You put quite a lot of sealer. This sealer will go quite hard, and it will also help with maintaining its shape when you come to fit it. Okay. So now we're going to put frame B together. Frame B together goes exactly the same way as what you put frame A together. Again, you might just want to use a little rubber mallet. Putting the brackets together. It might be a little bit tough, but a little tap with a hammer allows you to put the frames together easily. And as you can see, the frames put together, you've ended up with a very nice corner. I have not removed any of the protective film so that we make sure that we can build without scratching the powder coating. Again, I've put it all together in quite quick speed. I spoke before, you may get some brackets like this. They make no difference as to the different types of windows that you're going to build. They just go in like that. Again, this little tap with a hammer allows you to build in that configuration. So just to show you, I'll get another one put in the other side. Again, same type of bracket. So whether they are like this or like this, it doesn't make any difference. Again, you just put them in, tap them together. You'll notice that these don't have any small brackets. They are just the one-sided brackets. So I'll just put this now together. Yep. So now you can see we've got our frame together. We've checked the joints. It's nicely pulled together at all the points. We will lay it down, making sure that it's all nicely squeezed together. And again, you can use sash clamps, as I said before. And we will now join up the corners exactly the same as we did before, making sure that we have no movement later when we come to put it into the window. So again, I'm just gluing the bracket in, sealing up the joint a little bit. Also will help in the event that water does penetrate. And again, if you can just see what I'm doing here, I'm just taking a bead through the center, and again, put a little bit of glue on each core hole so that the bracket can't move. And again, I'll do the same here. If you're confident, you can actually put a bit of glue on the brackets when you put them together. If you pre-put them together and you're sure they're all right, then that's cool. You can do it in that manner. So remember, it's the PHE glue that we're using here. It's the PHE no-nails glue, the one that we've used to put this together. And once you've got your frame together, allow it to settle for 10-20 minutes. The glue will go off quite quickly. You can pull it together in both directions to make sure that you have nice joints.